Matthew and his students founded the Armenian Law Review in 2003. Since 1995, his research has taken him on journeys throughout the lands of Armenia, and his previous book, Armenia and Karabakh, The Stone Garden Travel Guide, is the best-selling English-language book about Armenia. Please welcome Matthew Karanian.
So I'm in Van. I don't find my grandfather's house. So instead I go to find another house, Akhtamar. Akhtamar's safe. Akhtamar's safe. It was safe because there was nobody there but me when I went. I took a boat, 3 people on the boat, me, the captain, and the first mate. That's it. This was 1997. Nobody's traveling there. There's no tourism. Even the local people weren't traveling. So I get to Akhtamar, and I walk right to the church. And I go into the cathedral. This is what it appears like today. Today it has a new roof, it has a cross. When I was there in 1997, the roof was old, the cross was down. And I walked into the Church of the Holy Cross, Surpchach, on Akhtamar Island. And I sat down in the church. I walked into the church, it was empty. There was no cross, there were no candles, there was no altar. Just a stone floor, stone walls, and a stone ceiling. And I walked into the church and I sat down where the altar should be. And I just sat there. And I almost cried. I almost cried because I'm at Akhtamar. This is my first time in Western Armenia. I'm at Akhtamar. And I sat there. And I thought about my grandfather. Did he come to this church? I thought about Karanian Heidig. I know he came to this church. I thought about all the people before me for the past century who would like to come to this church but haven't been able to. And I just sat there, and I sat there, and I sat there, my mind racing with all these thoughts of antiquity. And after some time, 5 minutes, 5 hours, I don't know how long I was sitting there, but at some point I heard a noise at the door. And I looked to the doorway, and I saw 3 men walking in. First man was walking in, he was wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and he was carrying a bag. And I looked at his face, and I recognized him. It was Mesrop Ashjan, one of the archbishops of the Armenian church. He was wearing jeans and a t-shirt. And behind him was a man I didn't know, who I now know. His name is Armin Royan. And also an Armenologist, a professor from Harvard University. And I looked at Serpazan, wearing his jeans and a t-shirt. And I noticed his bag, and he opened up the bag, and he removed from it first his vestment, and he put it on over his head, and then he reached into the bag again, and he removed the gold chain, and at the end of the gold chain was a gold Armenian cross, and he put that over his head, and he transformed himself from this guy wearing jeans and a t-shirt into our Serpazan. And then he led us in prayer. We sang the High Med. Moments ago, I had been sitting there, teary-eyed, by myself, wondering what I was doing at Akhtamar. And now I was singing the High Med with our Serpazan. And just as he had transformed himself from a man in jeans and a t-shirt into the Serpazan, he transformed this moment for me and launched me on my journey of not only self-discovery, but of national discovery, as I continued for the next 17 years traveling around Western Armenia in search of our homeland. I've been to Akhtamar many times. I was there in 2013. We had a Batarak open. 1,000 people were there. Big change from just 17 years earlier. 1,000 people. I met the patriarch of the Armenian church there. We had a baptism at Akhtamar for the very first time since 1915. Actually, 4 people baptized in 2013 for the very first time. One of those people who was baptized was kind of an accidental baptism. The church told me, one of the leaders of the church told me before the baptism, we got 3 baptisms today. And then I noticed that there's 4. Who's the 4th person? A 4th person had come forward to be baptized. He was a man from the town of Van. He was a man who lived all his life as a Kurdish Muslim. And he came to Akhtamar on this day because he knew there was going to be some baptisms. And he went to the patriarch and he said, I've got papers to prove I'm Armenian. Please baptize me. And the patriarch was convinced of his account, convinced of his paperwork. And we Armenians welcomed this Kurdish Muslim man back into the Armenian church.